According to Guam Police Department Acting Spokesperson Sergeant Elizabeth Flickinger, 911 received a report of a shooting at around 11 o'clock Saturday night.
I was off duty back in July 2012 over at a buddy's house, and when I was leaving to go home, an anti-military local in the area decided to shoot me with either a shotgun or a high-caliber rifle.
A green Honda Civic was parked at the mouth of the cul-de-sac today. The driver's side window is shattered. There's blood splattered inside the vehicle, and evidence of this bullet hole pierced through the driver's side door. There was also blood trailing from the car towards the driveway of the home, where the victim was found lying on the ground.
At that moment, that was the most helpless I felt ever, the most scared I've ever felt, because I really thought that was it and I was going to die, and didn't think anybody was going to come out.
Upon arrival of our officers, they had seen a male individual on the ground being tended by the neighbors and the medics. Apparently he sustained a gunshot injury to the right arm.
At this point, police are still piecing together what exactly happened, what prompted the shooting, and are searching for the suspect or suspects involved.
I don't have any use of my right hand and forearm. They did do a nerve reconstruction, but it's not looking good. I'm temporary duty retirement, so I get up to about 3 to 5 years to get reevaluated and possibly come back into the military, which is something I really want to do.
All right, go get your arrows.
I've been to a few introductory sports camps through the Air Force Wounded Warrior program. When I first found out about archery, the first time I tried it, I was actually sitting on the ground and put the bow horizontally in between my feet, so I actually pull back. There was no accuracy. It was just kind of like a, hey, let's try this really quick, let's see if it works. And then somebody mentioned at a different introductory sports camp, like, hey, why don't you put a little mouth pad? And I was like, oh, okay, let's try that. And we put some 550 cord around it, bit down on my teeth, pulled it back and shot a couple down, and it was actually pretty accurate.
The recurves first place, once again, I don't know how you did it, Daniel Crane for 191.
It's been a complete 180. Didn't think I could compete again in sports, and I didn't think I'd ever be around such a good group of guys and girls, and the support system here is just phenomenal, and it's changed my world.
Hello and welcome to Around the Air Force. I'm Staff Sergeant Pete Ising. Air Force Global Strike Command met a major milestone this week when maintainers at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, removed the last multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle in the Air Force Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Inventory from a Minuteman III. The re-entry vehicle is a portion of the missile that holds the nuclear warhead. Reconfiguring the missile to carry only a single re-entry vehicle helps bring the Air Force towards compliance with the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty and comply with direction from the 2010 Nuclear Posture Review. For more on this story, visit AFLink. Professional Military Education, or PME, is the staple of stateside education. It provides growth, mentorship, and learning for troops across the services. Tech Sergeant Trevor Pedro introduces us to a group of service members who are reaping the benefits of development downrange.
Y'all hashed it out.
Al Udeid Air Base. Cutter.
You see what I'm saying? Cooperation.
The Afghan Air Force has been working hard the last 11 months with the U.S. Air Force, accomplishing one of its goals ahead of schedule. Staff Sergeant Erin Mills has the story.
I'm Staff Sergeant Erin Mills, reporting from Kabul, Afghanistan. I'm Staff Sergeant Erin Mills.
To find additional information on these and other stories affecting airmen and their families, visit the Air Force's official website, AFLink. You can also listen to Air Force Radio News online. Just scroll over the News tab at the top of the page, then select Radio. From the Air Force Broadcasting Service at Fort Meade, Maryland, I'm Staff Sergeant Pete Ising. Thanks for watching. Brigadier General Robinson Reisner died October 22nd at his home in Bridgewater, Virginia. Reisner is being buried in Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. In Vietnam, General Reisner received the Air Force Cross for bravery. Time magazine put a portrait of him on the cover of its April 23, 1965 issue as an example of the modern American warrior. At the infamous Hanoi Hilton, Senator John McCain was a POW with General Reisner.
I will always remember Robbie Reisner and the inspiration that he provided to those of us who had the honor of serving with him.
General Reisner received another Air Force Cross for his gallantry as a prisoner of war. His many other medals include the Air Force Distinguished Service Medal, the Silver Star, and the Distinguished Flying Cross. General Reisner was 88 years old and leaves behind his loving wife Dorothy, his 6 children, and 14 grandchildren. In life, General Robinson Reisner honored the flag, and in death, the flag now honors him. Reporting from Arlington National Cemetery, I'm Staff Sergeant Peter Ising.
And Sergeant Ising, speaking of getting inside, how are things in there?
Hey, thank you so much, MC1. Things are crazy in here. I actually got my friend here, Steve Murray, here with me to talk about what's going on in here. So how are you involved with this whole program?
I represent Deloitte. We're the title sponsor for the Warrior Games, our 5th year in a row.
Okay, and I understand that you are a wounded warrior yourself.
I am. Navy retired, 25 years, Afghanistan, 3 tours.
How does it feel for, as an ex-wounded warrior like yourself, to see an event like this to be so big and so huge?
It's motivating. You look around, all these wounded warriors. This is bringing everyone together, family, friends, comrades. That's what it's all about.
Okay, so I know I probably don't have to ask, but which team are you rooting for?
Navy, Navy, Navy. Go Navy!
All right, go Navy, go Navy. Back to you up there, MC1.
Thanks so much, Sergeant Ising.
This is Orion. And Orion is America's newest spacecraft that will take astronauts to destinations not yet explored by humans, including an asteroid and Mars. Its first unmanned test flight is scheduled for the fall of this year, so many of their procedures are being tested in the actual environments the space capsule will encounter. NASA and a joint service team led by the U.S. Navy tested recovery operations in the Pacific Ocean.
I spent about the last 8 or 9 months working with NASA and HSFS Det-3 planning this mission.
After Orion is finished in deep space, it will re-enter Earth's atmosphere a lot like back in the old Apollo days. Back then, the space capsule was recovered by aircraft, but with this capsule, that's not possible.
The capsule now is bigger than it was back in the Apollo, Gemini, Mercury days, and so that eliminates the ability of the aircraft, or any aircraft, to pull it out of the water like we used to.
Now NASA plans to use a San Antonio-class amphibious transport dock like this one, the USS San Diego, to pull the capsule into its well deck.
This ship is designed to launch Marines and send them to a beach to accomplish their mission. The Orion mission set requires the ship to sink itself and pull the capsule into the hangar bay here, or the well deck, and acquire and retrieve the astronauts and the crew.
Right now, Navy divers are on high alert and training with the U.S. Air Force to recover other pieces of the Orion capsule they'll need to find in the open waters of the Pacific.
All the way out, you want to go to one
Our main focus is to try to get as much of these artifacts as we can after they land. So the parachutes, the bay cover, and the capsule itself, obviously, getting out there as quick as we can.
For Navy divers, this particular scenario presents some unique challenges because this isn't their typical mission.
Coming up with different ways and procedures on how to recover this. A lot of our jobs that I'm normally dealing with has to do with salvage and recovery of sunken objects. So it's slightly different in that this is a little bit more critical on how we recover it. Typically, if we're recovering something for a salvage job, the condition in which we bring it up isn't that important.
Watch your heads, watch your heads.
But here, that's the most critical factor, is that trying to recover the object without putting our hands all over it and damaging it.
After a week of testing and looking at the data, NASA and the U.S. Air Force, as well as the Navy, still have a lot of work to do with the launch date quickly approaching.
We had some successes and failures in the tests that we did, but that's why we test. So the ones that didn't go perfectly, those are the ones we really learned a lot. Hopefully a few months from now we'll do more testing on a ship like this and hopefully iron out everything, get it all wired tight so that when it happens for real in September, October, that we don't have any surprises. So that's the whole goal of the testing.
During Exploration Test Flight 1, an uncrewed spacecraft will travel approximately 3,600 miles in altitude before returning to Earth at speeds as fast as 20,000 miles per hour and temperatures above 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit to evaluate the spacecraft's heat shield and other systems. Orion's first manned flight is scheduled for 2017. Reporting from Naval Air Station North Island, I'm Staff Sergeant Pete Ising.
I personally don't think that the journey of healing is ever going to stop. It's always going to get better and better. Whatever's happened in the past, I can't do anything about. Once it's out in the air and it's going way past you and hitting that target, you just got to move forward into the next one, to the next step.
Getting the nerves out, you know?
I don't think Daniel has reached his full potential. I think that's still to come, and we're excited to see where Daniel goes.
And to see him here, competing for gold, shooting archery through his mouth. Wow, it doesn't get much better than that.
My arm is out there, and I'm nervous, shaking, and then I take that breath and everything just slows down for that split second. Everything is still, everything is calm, and that's whenever I take my shot.